Thank you very much,
Hey,
Nicole. And please introduce yourself. Let us know who you are.
thank you. Thank you for all of the effort with the time zones and everything. Um, so yeah, I've been working preparing students for exams, mostly Cambridge exams, IELTS, B2 first, C1 advanced, C2 proficiency, TOEFL. Um, I used to be a tour guide before that for about 8 or 9 years. I don't remember. And then I started teaching. And right in the beginning, I started teaching exams. I noticed that this was really something that helps developing students, speakers, advanced speakers of English, which who tend to find a plateau there, myself included. And I'm just really passionate about exams and helping teachers around Brazil, Latin America, which is where I work most of the time. And that is it. I live exams on a daily basis.
Whoa, that sounds like you're really having a good time there. You're the one who actually just decided who's good and who's bad.
Not exactly. Yeah, I work as a Cambridge examiner, and but it's not about good and bad, as you are well aware, right? There are many
Yeah,
nuance. There's nuance to that, right?
yes. Exactly, exactly. Well, that's why I think you are perfect actually for this episode because we're gonna be exploring a little bit of these type of exams and how people react to these exams. Because the same way they actually you see it in Brazil is not the same way that people see it in China, for example. So it's a different approach, a different way to see it in preparation as well. So
Interesting.
yes, it's definitely interesting. It's something that really it calls my attention because I think all of this is part of the cultural aspect, how people
Yes.
are and how
Yeah.
education is seen from a different perspective.
And
So
values.
yeah, exactly. So in one of the notes that you were sharing actually with me, you say something about a photograph. You mentioned something
Hmm.
about a photograph. So why did you mention the photograph?
Because I guess lots of people connect not only in exams, but generally their grades and their performance, academic performance, and so on, with who they are. But I connect exams to a picture. So, should you take a picture of me now? Is this exactly who I am? It is
Hmm.
not. I'm wearing lipstick. My lips don't look that color. Uh, I'm most of my students know me wearing headphones, and I have met students face to face who said like, "Oh my God, it looks so different without the headphones." Amazing how such thing happens. The exam is precisely the same thing. So you prepared for that. So the exam will reflect your preparation. You will be nervous. What do we look like when we're nervous in a picture? We don't look our own selves, right?
Yeah.
Um, think about the pictures we have on IDs. I don't, do you have pictures on IDs there?
Oh
We do here.
yeah.
They're
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all awful.
I
They're
think that's
always
actually
bad.
part of all the countries. All of us actually just start for the picture. It's terrible. I hate it.
Exactly. And the exam is quite similar because you get ready for that. You know that you're going to have to do the exam. It's not going to be your best picture, right? Because you're going to be
True.
nervous and you may or may not have prepared enough for that. Perhaps you've chosen the wrong exam for your level, which often happens with Cambridge
Yeah.
exams. People are really eager to take the C2 proficiency, but perhaps a step back would be ideal. So it shows that day, that moment, those specific skills you can show on that day.
I
So
really like that analogy over there from the pictures because it's true. You know, one thing is what you actually see there in the moment of the exam, but the other one is what you see outside the exam. So what are we preparing students for? For only just to have a score or for life? Is it English or a language, a mean of communication, or just a score? So, if a
Yes.
student could do just one thing to make that picture more authentic, what would it be?
The word authentic is key because uh, if you are developing your skills, you are bound to have a good score. You are bound. So, taking preparation with a view to improve yourself, which is what I try. I know that this is not the reality in Brazil. For instance, schools require Cambridge exams, so sometimes these people are taking exams so as to get a job, and it's urgent,
Exactly.
and they need better pay, and so on and so forth. And their mindset, the way the system works does not instill learning. It instills spending money on exams and preparing for a set of tasks.
Yeah.
But however, we do have to break this and be preparing to develop ourselves. And exams are great for that. They have the linguistic combination for that. If we
Yeah.
allow ourselves time and calm, it will be very effective for growth. And then the picture will be much more authentic because you spent time. I have students who do this for a year and a half. Only
Yeah.
then do they actually sit, and then they are relaxed. They've been doing this for a long time. They know what they're doing, and their natural language, and by natural language I mean what your brain really wants to produce, is
Exactly.
good enough for the level. It's the truth about your level of English, or of any language for that matter.
True. Well, I agree with you 100% on that one. Yeah, I think exams are really important just to have something
Hmm.
there. But I think the other part that actually it must be also highlighted is the communication part because most of the people they just want to have just the certificate, diploma, that's it.
Yeah.
And with that,
Yes.
it's enough. And well, in your experience, what are the levels that you're working on right now?
B2, C1, C2.
Yeah, but you are with students, teenagers or adults or something
I
like it.
work with English teachers
English
mostly. I
teacher.
have like 10% students who are advanced level, and by advanced I mean C1, C2, some B2 students who use English for work and wish to communicate better, especially those who are having meetings and
Hmm.
conducting meetings, and they feel like they need to be persuasive. They feel like they need to be clearer, more cohesive,
Yeah,
but for the most part, teachers who need exams so as to get
develop.
better jobs
Yeah.
and
So in
develop.
in this in this part with the teachers because I don't know, but I've heard some time ago somebody says that teachers are the worst learners. I don't know if you agree with that. Uh, have you seen students lose points because they try to sound advanced instead of just being accurate?
Um, when Let's think about writing and speaking for productive skills, which is
Okay.
when they try to sound better, of course. And so I think that depends on how that boldness happens. So,
Hmm.
of course, it sounds odd when you try to add like a very advanced construction in the middle of something, and it becomes phonetically clear that you're
Hmm.
uncomfortable with it because the speech is flowing and it's fast. Not it's fast enough. I don't mean that we need to be fast, but um, the pace is good. And then when you add that little far too advanced piece of language, it's phonetically
Yeah.
strange. But whether that will diminish the your score is um, it's complicated because we do not evaluate people on what they cannot do. Everything is evaluated on what based on what they can do. So
Yes.
if you look at Cambridge on Cambridge charts,
All the what they
is
can do, the can statements, right?
exactly can do statements
Yeah.
precisely. So if you make a mistake, you are not losing points whatsoever. But for instance, let's get C1 in terms of grammatical resource, shows a good degree of control of a range of simple and some complex grammatical forms. So let's say you need to be good at some complex grammatical forms. Let's say you produce some complex grammatical forms well, and then you make
Yeah.
one mistake. Native speakers can make mistakes.
Yeah.
I make mistakes like one per
100%.
minute. It's all fine. It's good. However, that also may have a psychological effect on them because you realize you made the mistakes. You made the mistake, and you're like, oh my goodness. And the woman on behind who's evaluating, she's like taking notes and she's writing
Yes.
things down. Um, so that
Anxiety and
may be
pressure just
detrimental.
arises.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. So it may be detrimental to your general psychological state then. So what we have to do is be comfortable with the largest possible amount of constructions so that we don't have to
True.
insert something uncomfortable there.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I think the problem is that some of the students actually don't see it like that, and they need to be ready not only for the grammar or vocabulary, but they need to be ready also they need to realize, face the situation. You know what? I'm gonna be making mistake, and I understand I make mistakes. I understand everybody makes mistake. Simple as that. But I don't know
Mhm.
why this type of situation happens on this stage. Between C1 and C2, students tend to like, no, I'm making a mistake. No, it's terrible. I don't know why they
Yes,
have
it's the
that
end of the
feeling.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. So why do some C2 level words actually hurt candidates when they use them incorrectly?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Why do some C2 level
Ah.
words actually hurt candidates when they use them incorrectly?
C2 level words.
Yeah, C2 level words.
Uh, hurt candidates when they misuse them.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Perhaps because they are not in their usual set of vocabulary. So on a daily basis, what do we read? What do we listen to every day? This falls a lot on the category of how you practice English in general
Yeah,
for life. So you
yeah,
watch movies and you read. What do you read? Right. So
exactly.
if I get Pride and Prejudice here, there will be lots of C2 words, but do we speak in that
Do we
way? No,
use
we
them?
don't.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. A good source, a good way to make that stop is reading the news. The
Mhm.
news are filled with C2 level words that are more modern and closer to what we are, which is one of the issues with fixed textbook materials. We cannot use only textbook materials because they
Exactly.
there are many words. Like I was looking at
Yes.
a textbook and there was like flabbergasted. I was like, who says
Flabbergasted. Yeah.
flabbergasted? Who says that? So I went to Coca Corpus and I saw that there was like 600 the frequency with which that word is used is
Yeah.
600 in like ever for the past 20 years. People are not saying
Exactly.
flabbergasted. So should I waste my students precious brain space with flabbergasted? Perhaps not. Now everybody's listening to flabbergasted and they're gonna have
Yeah.
that word in
They
their
will stay
mind,
there.
but it's
Yeah.
fine. But so that's it. I think you need to get acquainted with C2 speaking because that is not entirely natural until C1. I think it's day-to-day English.
Yeah.
C2 is different.
Shakespearean. Well,
Nearly.
you actually open a little bit of the Pandora's box over there by referring the books. And here's something that I totally agree with you because it's amazing that every time we have to actually just prepare students for this type of exams, what we are expecting is just to have the book and we just follow the book. Follow the book. Okay, we just finish. So here, for example, I have some colleagues and we just said that, oh, the book is God.
Oh, God, no.
Because here we have to do it. It's like, no, 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 you follow the book, follow
Oh,
the book. You cannot just do whatever. No, 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 just the book. So what kind of a preparation is
interesting.
that? Exactly. So here, for example, people prefer to study by learning words, rote and memorization. And they believe that's the best way to learn.
It's a way,
It's a way,
perhaps changing from words to sentences. I'm
yeah,
a fan.
but
I'm a
but the problem
fan,
but the
but
problem is like when you don't actually have the ability to use the words coherently and put them in a sentence.
mhm,
So you just
yes.
know the word, but that's it. Okay, put them in a sentence. I don't know.
Mm.
And if you don't know the meaning. So we
And
have that problem.
register.
Yeah. So we have that problem and we have the problem with the books. But I'm actually glad to hear that because I don't actually use books that much when it's about these preparations. Maybe I use the test, the mock test,
Mm,
definitely. But I try to do different things, because I think um, if I'm gonna just be basing on one book, it will be kind of boring. People will be like,
yeah.
"What is this thing? It's a book all the
Yes.
time looking at the book. It's not nice." So
Yeah.
if you had to choose, would you rather a student use simple language perfectly or advanced language imperfectly?
That will be the difference between levels, right? So a B2 student, I
C1,
expect,
C2.
I'm sorry, I will not be nice on that one. I would rather they be bold and make a few mistakes because otherwise you're just a very good B2 student who
Yeah.
makes little mistakes, but uh, you are not capable of nuanced grammar. And I mentioned grammar especially. Um, and by grammar, I think of constructions and how language relates to how phrases relate to each other and so on. Because complex thoughts can, why is there complex grammar?
Hmm.
To convey complex thoughts, complex meaning, right? So I don't use passive voice, for instance, just because it's cute. I use passive voice because I need to speak about an object that is highly important for me. A
Yeah.
book, if I talk about a book, I will be talking mostly in the passive voice, not mostly maybe, but a lot in the passive voice. So
Yeah.
it's not a choice. If you cannot use the passive, this is just an example. I can give many others. Uh, but if you cannot use passive voice well,
Hmm.
you're gonna be talking about authors all the time, not
Yes.
books,
Not books,
right?
exactly.
So some things are so I would rather hear a mistake that has the correct choice of grammar
Hmm.
than just simple present all the way.
Uh, okay. Fair enough.
Does it
I
make
like that
sense?
answer. Yes, it makes sense. Clearly.
You don't have to use
Or-
like participle clauses. So
Yeah.
let's say it also depends on who you are. Like, who are you? Are you a journalist? You're going to be using participle clauses. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have noticed this, but
Yeah.
it's huge in the news, in pieces written by journalists, even in books they write that are not in any way connected to news. They
Yeah.
use participle clauses a lot. It's a journalist kind of thing. So,
Yes. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, there are some parts of the grammar that actually we don't need to use it, and people don't actually use it. Even vocabulary, as you
mhm,
said at the beginning.
yes,
So, in your experience, how much of exam success is really about thinking skills and not grammar then?
a lot. First and foremost, for you to acquire grammar, you need
Yeah.
thinking skills because the grammar is basically a reflection of what's happening in your cognition.
Yeah.
So let's say I am, let's think subordination. I Subordination exists so that I connect ideas the way I'm thinking, the way I believe they are connected in reality. So all the language we have, all the language that exists serves the purpose that our thoughts
Yeah.
needed. We are not describing the world through language. Through language, we're making the world through language.
Truly.
Somebody said that. This is not mine. I will let you know if I
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I
remember.
heard actually that one. Somebody said it as well. Yeah, yeah. Actually came to my mind. Somebody said it.
But yes, so what I mean about grammar, about thinking skills, is that it is necessary for everything. Every part of the exam requires thinking skills. So
Yes.
let's take, if you take part two, reading and use of English, for instance, of C1,
Ooh.
C2, B2, they are testing grammar words there.
Yeah.
And these are combined in the English language. It is combined so as to convey meaning, different meanings. If you are not good at interpreting what the text is trying to convey, you will be like, oh,
Fail.
anything fits here.
That's it.
This is
Yeah.
something I hear a lot. Anything fits here. No,
Yes.
only one thing fits there, maybe two.
Yes. Yeah. That's another one. I get
So you
those
have
ones
to
too as well.
interpret, you
Yes.
have to uh, uh, think of things as a problem, like a mathematical problem. Don't they always
Mm.
say in maths that you need to correctly interpret the question, the
Yeah.
math problem, so as to answer? That's the same thing, right?
Mm. Well, that's a good analogy as well there. Now, but here's the thing. Now that you just mentioned the reading and listening skills,
Mm-hmm.
the use of English, I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
why actually some students, even though they know all the structure, still fail?
In listening,
Reading and
especially
use of English.
reading and use of English,
Yeah.
uh, even if they know all the structure, as
Yeah.
in like
Mm,
strategy for the exam,
might be. So that might be one of the reasons why they fail then.
lack of strategy may cause someone to fail. And by strategy, I mean your own strategy, not one size fits all, as I guess we'll be addressing. But they may get nervous. I've seen that happen. There's time management as well.
Yeah.
And then you can use time management to your benefit if you know yourself when taking the exam. I am terrible at gapped text, the one in which you remove
Yes.
paragraphs from the text and you have to put it again. They even give you an extra paragraph, which always fits. I
In all of them.
despise that. My students do that
Yeah.
in about 15 minutes. I do
Oh,
it in 25 minutes. I have not improved that whatsoever
yeah.
throughout my life. But what I do, I open the exam, I go directly to that part, and I take my time because I know the parts of the exam that will require me um, less time, that
Yes.
usually requires people more. So you have to know your strengths so as to pass. So psychological aspects, lack of strategy, lack of self strategy,
Yes.
um,
What
also
about
choosing the
speed?
wrong exam. Mhm.
Fast thinker. Fast thinking. I
That,
mean, if you're a
yeah,
fast thinker, it might be actually even easier for you to actually just develop all the strategies while doing the exam. Because that's another
definitely.
problem. If you cannot actually manage the time and you don't think faster, it will go down, right?
Yes, yes. A time actually, if I were given twice the time I'm allowed, I would probably, ace most of these mocks that we do because time is of the essence. It is important, but you have to know that you will make mistakes because of time management. The faster you think, the more advanced your thinking skills are, and
Yes.
I can also connect that to logic thinking. The faster you will be able to do things and do them correctly, right? Especially on some parts of exams that combine skills, because
Yes.
these tasks, they are not just like, okay, fill in the blanks. No, they are there. There's an agenda. Let's say that there's an agenda behind it. They're like, I need to see if this person interprets this correctly, if they understand nuanced meaning behind the text,
Yeah.
and therefore is able to understand the words or the grammar that is required there. And how
Exactly.
long does this take in the brain, right? It cannot take long. It has to be fast.
Fast.
So this is also a skill that we need to develop, to do things fast and do them correctly.
That's true. Yeah, but that's the problem. I mean, because we know actually we have students who are not perfect, but we're trying to make them not perfect, but at least close enough so they can actually just get to the points that they want or they're demanding from themselves. So,
Mhm.
um, what kind of classroom training actually prepares students for that mental load?
I don't know how much I want to say, because I have a secret. I have a secret in my prep courses, but I will share. I do the other way around. So we don't do exercises in class, because in class we need to develop these thinking skills,
Yes.
this sort of reading beyond the task. The tasks
Yes.
they can do at home. At home, you sit there and you do 1,000 times. You don't need
Yes.
me for that. But one thing that might be possible for students to do on their own, I don't know if they how much guidance they need on that, is to understand the linguistics behind the task. And then we do the opposite. I get, for instance, a text, and
Yeah.
I give it to students, and I'm like, get the text, and I want one exercise for part one, part two, and part three. And then you share with your peers, and they will solve your exercises. What this causes them to understand is the mechanics behind it. There's like, okay, I get it. So for part one, all of these words fit grammatically
Yes.
the gap. However, what is the difference between this one and this one? What is the difference between let me
Why
see
this
if
one is
I
correct once the other one is incorrect, or the best one.
yes, exactly. Exactly. I have a mock reading and use of English. No, this is the answer key. But I find it very interesting, and I find it really enriching for our vocabulary to think of things that way. That part one of reading and use of English, in which you all the words fit, but what is the nuance? What is behind them, right? What is
Exactly.
the reality of this meaning? I can think of one right now, but one student of mine, one of these days, he was comparing hinder and prevent in
Hmm.
class. And he was
Okay.
like, it's the same, it's the same. And I was like, no, it's not. Tell me why. Why? How are they different?
Yeah.
And he looked at meaning and he was like, still the same. And I was like, it's not the same. Let's look at corpus. And then he
Yeah.
was like, oh, I see. I see. So you prevent something bad from happening, and you hinder someone in their development. You
Exactly.
hinder someone. So this is the kind of thing that generates this this very intricate knowledge of expressions,
Yes.
right? And this is what gets you fast. This is what makes you fast. Understanding what's behind it. Otherwise, it's just like choose the best option.
True. I know, you know what? That same strategy that you applied actually with your students is the same strategy I actually apply with the students that I have for TOEFL. because I prepare
Oh,
students for
yeah.
TOEFL, the counterpart
Mm-hmm.
from IELTS. So
Yes.
same thing I actually do. And but one of the things that I do maybe is not so good, but I'm kind of mean. So I actually work with them under pressure. If they have
Mm,
only, I don't know, 30 seconds to prepare something, I give them 10.
I
So they need
see.
to think faster
That is
and
helpful.
answer. And for example, in speaking, I just give them the topic. And then
Mm-hmm.
I see that they already have a really good idea. And I'm like, stop, start over, but not in the same way. And I
Yes,
make
that's
them
great,
rethink.
actually.
So
Yes,
he's like, no,
rethinking the same thing.
yeah,
It's great.
yes.
Very
So I do
interesting.
a lot
And
in that sense.